Good evening Kenya, this is Kenya News Alerts. Karibuni sana kwenye show yetu ya Tamati, show where we speak to each other and you speak to us. I am your host, House of Zulfa. Today is on the 20th of February 2025. Please, we shall be here mpaka 6 where we'll be talking about the cultural heritages and why they need to be preserved.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Is it evening?
Yes, it is evening.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you for joining us once more. This is Pilan San Felix, and I welcome you to the show. Zulfa, how was your break?
My break was good. How was your break?
It was good too. I really appreciate. As you can maybe see, MPs are very serious in the parliament.
Debating things that actually I never thought that are important, but when I've listened to them, I realize they are very important and we need it. Because what are your cultural heritages from your place? From where you come from?
Playing Yobokano.
What is that?
Umeniuliza what is what?
Your cultural heritages. Yani mnafuata nini kwenu? What are those traditions that you follow?
Those traditions are many.
Some of the main that you could say this one and this one and this one.
Number one,
can you enter your mother's house when you're married?
Oh,
your mother's bedroom.
That is what I wanted to tell you, but I was trying to figure out I could maybe tell it out. My mother cannot get into my house. Yes.
Why? Why is that?
I don't know. That is part of it.
That's the thing with the
thing.
I never know why, but it is there. The thing with cultural things, you're told that ufai kukalia mawe ya kupikia pale jikoni, yale mawe tatu yale.
Ukikalia huwezi kuwa mtu mzima. Ukikalia hauwezi kuwa mkubwa.
Usikalie kinu. Usifagie, usipe mtoto mfagio. Sijui usiitane usiku jina ya mtu. Usiimbe usiku. Those are some of the things, yeah?
Yes.
What other things do from your place?
Vitu ni mingi Zulfa. Kwanza when it comes to those traditions like do not marry from somebody whose home is near your home. Do not use some sort of chairs that your father is using.
Do not use a chair?
Yeah. There is a special chair which is specifically used by a dad, a father of that compound.
You're told not to use it?
Yes.
Okay. So some Kenyan cultural practices that are considered to be gradually fading or lost, because they're arguing about the things that are lost and what we should preserve, because kuna zingine hata preserve na kuna zingine hata preserve, si ndio? So it include traditional practices related to inheritance of a widow by a brother-in-law, specific rituals associated with mourning and burial practices, certain aspects of traditional medicine knowledge, specific forms of communal dancing and storytelling, and most notable, the practice of female genital mutilation, that is FGM, which is actively being discouraged and declining due to its harmful nature, although it remains prevalent in certain communities. Sindio, what is making us lose these cultural things? Sindio, the urbanization and modernization. Sindio,
yes.
Most right now you're a Kisi and this girl is a Mijikenda, you marry. Sindio,
yes.
Who you anataka their tradition to be followed? This one anataka you want yours to be followed. Ni wote mnaishi Mombasa. You forget about your Kisii nini, she forgets about their Mijikenda nini, and then the child is raised even not even knowing any of these languages. Una get?
Yes.
Ama mnasema sababu mimi ni Mkisii na wewe ni nini, atoa mwite jina lote basi la kwetu ama la kwenu ndo tukue fair kwa hii marriage, and the names are lost and the language is lost there. Unapata many generations, someone says my father is a Kisii ama my mother is a Mijikenda, but they don't know to speak the languages. They don't even know Kisii ni wapi. Unaona? They don't know nothing about that, and you should stop that. I always encourage, teach your people the language, both ikibidi wajue Mijikenda language, wajue the Kisii language, the Kamba language, they should know, and some of the traditionals. Yes.
Yes. So Zulfa, at some point some of them are not good, and some of them seem to be non-essential, they're not essential, and some of them are there just to scare. Let me ask you, my sister, do you believe some culture like FGM are supposed to be retained?
No, that we're retaining the only good things that we need. That one no, that one Z. You are I-Fi. I-Fi kabisa. That is, do people die in those? Yes.
Yeah, through bleeding of excessive blood. Yeah.
Do you think it should happen to male people too?
To male? Male do undergo circumcision, and it is normal to men. Yeah, ladies are not supposed to. Can we proceed to Parliament so that at least we can join them?
Okay.
Yes.
It is big on cultural. Culture is larger than artifacts. There are many elements of culture that are not covered in this bill as it exists. So much so that the option we have as a house is to either pass it as it is and then seek for places to amend later, or we might decide then, and in the third reading, Mr. Speaker, we might find a place in the clauses that exist or introduce new clauses where we are able to cover a wider definition of culture rather than zero in on just cultural artifacts. But now the bill has presented, Mr. Speaker, because it is big on cultural artifacts, then we can talk about issues to do with intellectual property. Mr. Speaker, whatever is covered here on intellectual property is a bit shallow. And my question was whether that shall be covered in subsequent or subsidiary legislation, maybe in regulation, or whether there shall be another bill that comes to take care of intellectual property. But finally, Mr. Speaker, I have to say that the essence is urgent. One, for the preservation of our culture and the protection of our culture. But secondly, Mr. Speaker, and most importantly, this house is the house that ratifies international treaties, international conventions. And so, Mr. Speaker, the treaties that we have ratified, some by UNESCO and many others to do with culture, have been given life and effect by us processing a bill that takes care of culture. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker, in Article 11, also is given effect by us passing this bill. And it is for that reason, Mr. Speaker, that I stand to support and seek to amend in the third reading. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak on this bill.
The Honorable Christine Umbaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to what is very, very important in our lives. We are talking about a bill that deals with culture and definition of culture. What is culture? It's a way of life as lived by a people at a particular time in history. It means that culture is our way of life. It's the language we speak, it's the song we sing, it's the food, the dress that we have, the food we eat, the sports, everything about our lives is culture. But it is as lived by a people at a particular time in history. It means that culture evolves. It is dynamic. It changes from time to time. The people of the past had their own culture. It moved on and changed on, and we acquired others, and we dropped other ways of culture, other ways of survival, and we moved on and acquired others. Just like language dies. When a language dies, then that culture is finished. That culture, the people of that language will not exist because the language has died. It is important to realize that culture is our identity. If it dies, we are dead. It is cardinal. It is in our lives. It is part and parcel of us. It is our gene that if it is not there, we are not human beings. Unfortunately, our culture, African culture, Kenyan culture, all the tribes that we have, 42 or 43 that we have, these are cultures that are very, very important. But they have been interfered with in the past through colonialism. And it is still being interfered with. It is still changing. It is still not the same as a long time ago. But we need to preserve them because we are preserving our identity. We will be laughed at if we do not preserve it. If I lose my Luo language, where will I belong? What will people think of me? But our children are losing it, and we are not caring. We do not give a hoot about the language that our children are speaking today. They are mixing up English and Swahili and a bit of their local language. Sometimes they speak pure American English, and they cannot utter a word, even the word thank you, even the word asante sana, they cannot speak it because they speak European language. We are, as parents, have also failed in preserving the culture of our people because we enjoy to see our children speak British or American English. Secondly, we have tried in this country to preserve culture through the museums that we have. But unfortunately, again, these museums, they're shallow. I was in a committee of sports last Parliament, and we had a chance to visit a number of museums that we had. It was shameful to see how shallow, how empty they were. There were no anything that would indicate the culture of our people. They were scanty, they were too old, they were torn apart. We need to create or come up with what we can show to our children as part of what is in the museum. The museums are not having the right things. They're too old, too broken apart. Nobody seems to put money there to ensure that even our museums have the items, the artifacts that require our understanding of the past. That is missing. The school system has tried, I must say that, because we normally have school music festivals, drama festivals. These are events that help us nurture the past, bring out the past. Our children try to wear those clothes of long ago so that they can sing these songs when they come for competition. But it's just for competition and the story is over. We do not carry it forward. We do not say, we do not care about the clothes that we used to wear in the past and keep them and reserve them somewhere in the museum. It is just for events for a period over 1 day, 2 days, and it's over. It's unfortunate that we do not celebrate our culture. We need to do that constantly. In this country, we also have Heroes Day. We celebrate our heroes, the people of the past, what they did for us, how great men and women they were, and we celebrate them. But at least there we conquer, there we have done well, because it's every year we celebrate the great men and women of this country, of the past and of the present. They've done marvelously well. In my community, recently in Nyanza, last December, that's 3 months ago, we had a celebration, a 2-day celebration, which was called Pinyu Luo. Pinyu Luo simply means Luo world, the Luo world. And we invited guests from all over. We were tracing the history of the Luo people, right from Sudan, and how they spread out in so many countries in this world. They're in Uganda, they're in Tanzania, they're in West Africa, they're everywhere. So many countries. And many people came to celebrate the Luo culture at that time. There were music, good food of long ago, and men and women who know the history of the Luo movement from Sudan to here. Even today, we were praying for a great professor, Professor Bethuel Alan Ogot, who has written a lot about the Luo culture in many, many books and articles. In one of the presentations last December, before he passed away, he told us the power of women, how women were highly respected, and how even in the Luo movement from Sudan, the people who led the Luo movement, a number of them were women. He highlighted the role that women played in history in the Luo people. But somehow today we are losing it. Nobody cares about the role that women play historically in various movements, historical movements, in wars and anything else. Appreciation and making sure that we conserve the names, the activities, and the roles that they play. It is therefore very important that this bill must be supported, because it is a bill that is helping in preserving a culture that is dying. The Kenyan culture is rich. We are 42 communities. And that does not mean we are divided. It simply means all these communities with their cultures can make us very strong as a united nation. Kenya is a united nation. 42 communities form a nation. And so we need to celebrate the cultures that we have, the 42 cultures that we have. I know culture is dying, but we need to still fight very hard to protect it. We need to protect Gotramogi. That is a hill where our ancestors settled when they arrived in Kenya those many years. Nobody should go there in that land and start digging and treating it like his own. It must be protected, and nobody should interfere with it. We have the Kikuyu Kiondo. I remember very much in this very house, somebody brought the issue of Kikuyu Kiondo, that some other European countries are grabbing and calling it their own. It is owned by the Kikuyus because that is a traditional basket that they weave that is part and parcel of their identity. But some people, foreigners, have grabbed it and made it their own. So that is where the catch is. We are losing what we have to the European countries. We need to grab back our culture that they have taken, what they're making so much money on, that belong to us. We need it here, right here. Because if we don't watch it, they will grab everything and they will take us back to their country and make money out of us. Very soon, you will call that slavery. They will soon pick us up and take us over there if they're taking some of our property that we need to protect. I'd like to conclude, because I'm rushing somewhere else, to say that I support very, very highly this very bill, because I'm supporting our identity, I'm supporting our way of life, I'm supporting the Kenyan people who are protecting and fighting for their communities, fighting for their values, fighting for their way of life as lived by a people of today's culture. Thank you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Naomi Wako.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this debate that I like because of the Cultural Bill 2024 that has been moved very ably by the Chief Whip, and I have been listening. And as one of the people who love their culture and just get excited about our cultures, I have been so excited this evening, and also seeing that there are many people like me. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill fully because the bill was informed by
Article 11 of the Constitution of Kenya, which recognizes culture as the foundation of the nation and as the cumulative civilization of Kenyan people.
And the nation. It commits the government to promote all forms of national and cultural expression. In fact, what excites me is all forms of national and cultural expression through literature, arts, traditional celebrations, science, communication, information, mass media, publication, libraries, and other cultural heritage. Honorable Speaker, we are who we are because of our cultures, our behavior, our way of dressing, our way of expressing ourselves, and even the way we interact with each other and socialize is because of our culture and that strong foundation that was based on our culture. Unfortunately, today, we keep losing, and many people say culture is dynamic. Yes, it is dynamic, but we don't have to lose our good and beautiful culture. Honorable Speaker, as I was growing up, one test that any young man or woman has to go through is anytime a visitor comes to your home, number one, you have to say your name. You have to say your father's name. You have to say your grandfather's name and continue up to the last generation. And after that, you have to tell the visitor your clan and the age set of your parents and your own. And by the time you finish that, then you would have passed the exam. And by the time you have gone through that interview, everybody knows that, yes, this child has been brought up in a good way or is being brought up in a good way. Honorable Speaker, those are the things we cannot find today. When I went to Norway in 1997 to do my master's, the first thing I interacted with was, I saw so many people, the Oromo speakers there. And from our country, I had my firstborn and the secondborn with us. And we were always proudly speaking about, Kenya and very good English in everything. But within very few months, we realized that speaking our own language was the best thing that we would have done for ourselves. And within 3 months, we were able again to bring back our children, and we started speaking our language, which brought a lot of value. And anytime we interacted with other Africans, we would also speak our language, and everybody celebrated with us. And since then, speaking our language in our home is our priority. Practicing the good cultural practices is another thing that we have always done. Honorable Speaker, the more we practice our good cultural practices, the more we will grow our country
and also keep our valuable heritage, whereby other people in Western world today, you don't have what you see in our country. We have 42 different ethnic groups. We have, in my own country, we have 14 different ethnic groups, each group having their own unique and special cultural practices. The more we do this, the better for us as a country, Honorable Speaker. I support this bill because since independence, it is important for us to know that since independence, Kenya has never enacted comprehensive legislative framework to support the integration of culture and cultural heritage in national development agenda. Honorable Speaker, it is many years. And the potential that is there in our cultures, the beautiful practices. Even before we were born, although Christianity was not there and maybe Islam was not there, our forefathers used to pray to God. And they used to do so many things. I remember they used to tell me that even during the drought season like now, the elders and the spiritual fathers would just go somewhere, pray, and command that it rains. And it has always rained. But today you cannot see that because we are not living in those practices. Honorable Speaker, it is too late. In fact, this bill would have been there many years
many, many years ago, so that our young people can enjoy and so that we can harness the potential of our culture. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill because of the intention. The bill is also intended to facilitate the implementation of international conventions and treaties that have been ratified by Kenya. This will take us to another level. We will make our people proud of their culture, and we will also make use of those old people who are there among us now so that they can bring the beauty, they can tell us what they know. Again, Honorable Speaker, I support this because this bill, in clause 4 of the bill, it sets out the guiding principle, which include the national values and principles set out in Article 10, 27, 201, and 232 of the Constitution, and giving equal recognition, dignity, respect of all cultures, including cultures of minority or marginalized people. Honorable Speaker, this is where I belong. And for many years, we have been marginalized, we have remained minority, although we still uphold our beautiful cultures. And this bill, for the first time, has specifically mentioned us as a group, so that our cultures, even if we are the minority, even if we have been marginalized for many years, our culture should also be recognized. And in recognizing that, we will have the feeling that we are part of this country. Honorable Speaker, for many years, those of us who live in northern Kenya have been referring to this part of the country as Kenya A, and those of us in Marsabit and beyond as people living in Kenya B. But by including us in such things and also recognizing our beautiful cultures, recognizing our forefathers, recognizing the heroes, recognizing the beautiful things that we do even in that part of the country, because God has given us one special gift, that we have beautiful people in northern part of Kenya. And with our beautiful culture, then we can add a lot of value to the country and our practices. Honorable Speaker, again, I support this because this bill, clause 5 to 19 of the bill, establishes the management of culture in Kenya and delineates the function of both the national and county government. I support this fully. And mine is just to say that our county governments should see how they can promote the different cultures, the cultural practices that are there, those that are harmful, like FGM, early marriages, inheritance of women. We can put that aside, but those good cultural practices should be enhanced, should be promoted, so that even our young people can have somewhere they can go and see the value of our cultures. Honorable Speaker, we need to finish the debate on this and make sure that our president will sign so that it can be practiced. And as we do that, we should think of Cultural Week in Africa, Cultural Week in Kenya, our cultural outfit, so that even when we come to Parliament, for that 1 week, we can be practicing.
The Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this chance. Mr. Speaker, even on the onset, it's very important to discuss also the soft side of our country. The country we call Kenya, in the definition of it, Honorable Speaker, is just boundaries. And I'm saying so because many times we confuse between several things. One, what is the country, the republic, the nation, the government, and the state. Honorable Speaker, what we call a country is just by the boundaries that define where Kenya lies. The other functions, Honorable Speaker, that defines what the state is is the state apparatus, Honorable Speaker, the institutions of governance, which predominantly are made on the institution that guarantee the rule of law and accountability, rule of law, of course, through the judiciary, accountability through democracy in a house like the legislature, and also a functional modern state, which then defines the executive. Honorable Speaker, many times you don't talk about what the nation is, the nation of Kenya. And Honorable Speaker, I've talked about the country called Kenya. I've talked about the state, which makes the apparatus of the institution of governance. Honorable Speaker, there is also something very fundamental called the nation. And the nation is the soft side of the country. And Honorable Speaker, many times, even economically speaking, many countries actually progress when they have been able to align their culture. And Honorable Speaker, many times we confuse the culture and the language. That is only one side of what we call the nation, or shared identity, or shared values. The soft side of the country, Honorable Speaker, encompasses and answers the question of who are we as a country, who are we as a citizenry. Honorable Speaker, one could be language, others could be shared values, others could be even our temperament, others could be our disposition as a people, because, Honorable Speaker, all these soft sides of what defines the people form what is called the culture. Honorable Speaker, in this modern era, it is beholden upon all of us. And that is why culture is always actually not static, Honorable Speaker. It is progressive and dynamic. It behoves all of us to look at the segments of our culture, which then brings identities that are static. Identities, Honorable Speaker, that then brings about fault lines in the relationships of the people. And that is why many countries, Honorable Speaker, have had many people with different cultures, but they came together to find an overarching culture, a shared value across. That is why a country like Switzerland is actually more fragmented in terms of ethnicities than Kenya. But when you look at it, it is more cohesive. A country like Tanzania, Honorable Speaker, is more fragmented in terms of ethnicities. But when you go to Arusha or Dar es Salaam, and you ask anyone which tribe you come from, the first thing they ask you is, are you Kenyan? And Honorable Speaker, what I'm just trying to say is that it is important progressively. It may not happen very suddenly. Progressively, that for a country to actually thrive economically, they have to pull in one direction. And for a people to pull in one direction, they have to be the same people. That homogeneity of the people, Honorable Speaker, comes about by coming up with a culture that overarches and a culture that is shared across all people. People could be speaking different languages. People could be different even in their appearance, Honorable Speaker, but it is important, even for a country to thrive, that we pull in one direction. And for us to pull in one direction, we first of all have to deal with the fault lines. We have to deal, Honorable Speaker, with things that divide us and find an overarching culture and shared values that bring us together as a people. And upon that, Honorable Speaker, the beauty is that we always have a chance. As a country, we have a chance. As a continent, we have a chance, Honorable Speaker, so that we can define ourselves, Honorable Speaker, through an overarching identity, and an identity that which is not static, but which is fluid. Honorable Speaker, most of the static identities are the ones that pull people apart. For example, when you are born in a different, speaking in a different language, Honorable Speaker, many times, therefore, in that particular ethnicity you come from, you may never be able to change it in your lifetime. But, Honorable Speaker, also, another static identity that we always have to live with, Honorable Speaker, many times it comes as religion. Honorable Speaker, there are also other fundamentally static identities. But the current era, the modern age of nation building, Honorable Speaker, departs from those.
Okay. So, as we've had this, the MP's debate on the preservation of our cultural and traditional practices, I second that, because we are losing ourselves, we are losing our languages, we are losing our traditions, we are losing. If you ask me, my traditional way of where I don't even know, and that is so bad. We should learn and we should pass it down, because kama story ya Mekatilili ingepasiwa down, kama story ya this lady Shukimao ingepasiwa down, we would never know, sindio? So whatever they are fighting for is a good cause. I hope, as that MP from Kisii said, I take what to shelf, I shelf. I hope they do really follow through.
Yes. Zulfa, you know, at some point, there is this point where the Senate was not totally happy in their parliament, in their Senate chamber, whereby at some point they could condemn some of the actions that they could do what they could either see or hear about those people who are celebrating Raila's laws. What can you say about that?
As we discussed it, as we have already established, like, people are celebrating. Umesikia Senator Unyonka alisema kwamba people are not celebrating because they wanted Mr. Raila to fail. Apparently, people are celebrating because they want Mr. Raila back in Kenya. They are like, oh my God, Fuchs, let him come back in Kenya, because Kenya is not good without Mr. Raila and all that. That is what people are saying. But there are those who are celebrating generally because they don't want Mr. Raila to win. Yeah? So which one are you? Are you the one for let him come back in Kenya, or like I didn't want him to win at all?
Yes.
Which side are you? Are you on the side?
You want to know whether either the side of celebrating or celebrating negative. Just celebrating.
Whatever you celebrate.
Wait.
Yes.
Whether I'm celebrating he is going to come and deliver the country, or I'm celebrating he lost. What do you want to understand from me?
Anakuja kudeliver country. Anadeliver aje? Deliver hizo miaka zote. How is he coming to deliver this country?
So you're asking me anaweza kuja kuideliver namna gani? Anyway, truly hakuna kudeliver hapo. Instead unaelewa mambo yenye yamekuwa yakiendelea. Right? Unaelewa vizuri sana mambo yenye yamekuwa yakiendelea. Unless maybe aekuje aungane na Azimio, vinara wake wa Azimio waelewane, yeye mwenyewe atamsupport nani, ama kama yeye ndiye anataka asimame tena, ani afadhali ajulishe watu mapema. But many suggestions
yes, as we said in the last show, already Asha joined Kenya Kwanza. So how is he going to join Kenya Kwanza and then run against his friend again?
Sasa kujoin kwake Kenya Kwanza, it will never be a positive impact to us, right? Hiyo inamaanisha like amesaliti akina Kalonzo, amesaliti akina anaitwa nani, Wamalwa, sawa, and all those people who they were together with. So that one, maybe if Kenyans were celebrating, if Kenyans were celebrating about the same, then it is totally unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that he did lose, and I don't want to really keep on repeating myself because we talked about it. So, but if Kenyans would see, if the producer would show us where and how these people debated about and every side adds kwenye hao maseneta kila mtu alikuwa na side yake. So the producer anaweza weka hiyo footage, we listen to them, we hear Onyonka's side, we hear Omtaches, we hear every senator, Karungo Dhangwa, sawa, everyone experience. Sisi alikuwa tuna celebrate, tulikuwa tunafanya hivi na yule, because I don't like to keep on repeating myself, sawa. The thing is, there are people who wanted this person to win. There are people who did not want him to win, especially the Gen Zs. Sawa. So when we say ati kuna Wagikuyu ambayo walikuwa na celebrate, hakuna Wagikuyu ambayo walikuwa celebrate. Kuna watu wengi. Even in the last show, you had someone say, I am from Coast. I am not a Kuk, but I did celebrate that he did not win. And not because I want him back here to come and rectify what, ama rectify this, ama rectify that. In fact, tunamtaka achukue basi aende Bondo straight. Sawa. Huyo mtu alisema hivyo. So people were celebrating different things. Kuna mwenye anasema I'm celebrating because nataka baba hapa nyumbani, because nataka kuje sijui rectify. I don't know, and I would please want you to come and tell me how you want baba to come and rectify things when already he has already joined that government that you people do not want. Sawa. Umesikia kwenye hiyo, and I really want the producer to put that footage. Ameongelea mpaka the RSF, yeah, ambayo wako KCC wakijitawala huko, a militia in our country. Sawa. So please
you can continue as we wait for the footage,
so that you may say something.
Okay. I know, I'm only waiting for that footage because it had a very strong message, and you understand very well that those people are not okay with what is going on, and truly it seems to be unfortunate, right? Yeah, so unless maybe if you have something to tell them as we wait for.
Do you know about the RSF working senators? The point is, my dear people, so kila mtu ni Kenya, kila mtu yuko na maoni yake, kila mtu you have a right to say ama to support whoever you want to support. Sawa. But if atutashikana, atutaungana mikono, sisi wote we support one person. We say this is the person that we have vetted, we have thoroughly vetted to become our leader, to take over Kenya. Tutashinda tu in the same position of complaining. Another hata huyo Raila ataingia alafu mtataka change Kenya in one nini, because our parents did whatever they did, but we're not going to go back to that and back to all that. So someone was saying that Kalonzo should become the next president, because we've not had scandals and all that. But we do really need to vet our leaders. We don't want to say tunachagua huyu mtu kwa sababu ya hii shughuli. So when these senators are there, it is a minute wana condemn Kenyans for celebrating. Ndasema kitu moja, jiulizeni why are they doing that? I mean, Baba used to be that person that when he cries, we cry. But right now, not all every Kenyan is crying. In fact, when he's crying, others are laughing. So it becomes what it is. It becomes that niweza kuwasikiza wale wabunge, wale maseneta that is pale kwenye bunge, na ningependelea sana hata before naweza kuingililia wamesema nini ama wamefanya nini, first we get to see them, first we get to listen to them, so that you viewers may judge for yourselves, so that you viewers may give out your opinions. Saying that this person ama that person ama condemning seriously. Kuna picha kimoja nasema Azulfa Hope amko fine. Sudi has responded to Sifuna. He is very annoyed with the Sifuna attack on him at Citizen interview. Sudi is now insulting Sifuna. I mean, Peter, tuko fiti sana, Hope uko fiti poa, sawa. But ni Sifu, ni Sudi. He will do a whole TikTok. He will do a whole TikTok the way he did a whole TikTok with effects for Mr. Gachagua, saying, oh, Gachagua alikuwa. That was Sifuna really insulting him. Sasa ona yanakuja na matusi. Sifuna was speaking. See now when you deal with some people, the kind of language they want to use. I'm going to go back and see that. Etienne Mtata is very sober leader. He does not take nasa. Yes, he even walked out. I'm waiting for that footage. Felix, mjibu bwana Peter.
Nakusalimia. Peter, I hope uko poa. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know, Peter, what maybe will you say about the responses that the Senate could give yesterday about the comeback of Raila Odinga, whereby they could maybe claim that some of the individuals were happy and it ever seemed to be shameful. Yes? What can you say, Peter? Zulfa?
What can you say? Because maybe I don't even touch on it until you people see. Sawa, mjisikize wenyewe, mjione wenyewe, muone maneno yaliyorushanishwa pale, you know. And I hate this thing of always blaming some people. Like, why? And why is this person responding with insults? Mbona yeye asimpe hataka ambayo umesoma kama yule alivompa hataka ambayo pia imeenda shule? Unaambiwa anapita akufine wine. So swali ambalo pita unaulizwa ni, if you watch that, sawa, why are we blaming a certain community for celebrating? Why are we doing that? Why are we saying watu fulani? In fact, I remember kulikuwa mpaka apparently leaked Gachagua WhatsApp group yake. It was leaked. Any Kenya, let me tell you, Mr. Felix, Kenya, you look at some things and you're like, people when they fail, they don't accept failure. They do not accept it because you're told, own it so that next time you will find out. They want to blame someone else for everything. They want to be like, ni nyinyi, ni wale, so mimi, kama soke kwa yule. And if, like, there's this Chinese thing, one of the Chinese laws, it says that a man that knows how to accept his faults, that is a man who is going far. But a man who doesn't accept his faults, that is a man who has a long way to go.
Now, Zulfa, sorry for a slight simple inconvenience. So, Zulfa, I was trying to say this. It is not essential or necessary to celebrate someone is I don't know, the failure. The best thing you can do, it is better for you either to keep quiet or ujibe shughuli, right? We cannot maybe advise anybody to celebrate someone's fault or loss, right? But ikifika wakati you really understand that mtu mwenye hauku unatarajia apite na maybe hauku unataka apite ameanguka, despite kitu yenye alikukosea, let mocking or abuses
Stop.
Let them not be part of your responses. Right? When they were complaining yesterday about the celebrations, which maybe they could, one of them said that they could see some people posting maybe proud of the law, the failure of the AUC chairmanship. The Senate waliboeka sana, na in fact hakuna mwenye alikuwa so proud, unless kuna wengine waliongea kwa sababu many spoke. I want you to play one of the videos, right? Where Onyonka, senator from Kisii County, could make his compliment over the failure. By that, this guy anatumia language fulani yenye naacha watu in a dilemma. So, was he supporting his failure or he was condemning his failure? There's a statement he made that those people were celebrating that the country is going to regain when Raila is back, right? Wait, let me just play. Yeah, but the argument we could give is that the country was to regain when Raila will be back. Let's listen to him.
What happened in 2007 when we came to this house and I saw the hate, the vitriol, the anger. What were we fighting about? An election which had been lost, and of course we were on the other side which lost, quote unquote, and we stood here and said how we wished anybody who was on the other side should have been dead. I have watched the coalition government work, and then it failed. In this republic, I have seen President Uhuru come into power and his elections are nullified, and I've seen how he handled it. And I have seen how President William Ruto becomes president. So I hope my colleagues will give me an opportunity to lay out my case. This election of Prime Minister Raila to the AUC, indeed it was about our country. This election was not really about Raila per se. And I've seen some people say, oh, this election was about President William Ruto, and if he's a bad president, therefore our candidate wouldn't win. No, I take a different approach. The reality is we went in to hunt. I am saying I don't think we were prepared to hunt well and kill the elephant. My argument is we have a country where we are constantly looking for options and solutions away from the reality of what we are dealing with. I have had my colleagues say that there were people celebrating that in fact Raila lost. Yes, they celebrated because they are fearful. They want Raila to come back because the country looks unstable and it's not ready to move on. That is where we are, Honorable Cherargei. This is not about tribes ganging up against bigger tribes and smaller tribes ganging against smaller ones. This is a state called Kenya, which is dysfunctional, where we have refused to accept the basic tenets. We have said, Honorable, my majority leader, you know I respect and love you as my brother. Thank you. I hope one day I'll join government and be with you. But I intend to remain in the opposition to keep some of you sober and sane. This process, because of the training I got when I was a minister in the government of President Kibaki, is a process which is handled quietly, efficiently, and successfully. When you are going for these positions, you must be able to look at the sensitivities and the issues in all these geopolitical issues of Africa. And yet, what have we done? We have localized this whole thing as if it's about Raila, who wanted to be something, and William Ruto, who wants to survive. Indeed, if that is the case, if Raila wanted the job and felt he would lose and come back here so that he joins President William Ruto's government, and therefore Kenya will become stable, my position is very simple. So long as you continue doing things the way you are doing them, the country will not be stable. When we were talking about what are the issues in Sudan, look at what you're having at KICC today. One group is at KICC parading themselves, and you are insensitive to the issues that we are supposed to be the arbiters of two people who are fighting on the African continent. When we are talking about Congo, the reality, my brother Cherargei, is that we have a region which is affected by illegal mineral mining, by countries that are feeling incredibly insecure. You have Western powers who have an interest in managing what is happening in Congo. And the reality is we just laugh at it. So when M23 are coming to Nairobi to come and have a meeting here with our president, the simple fact that they came here put everybody onto suspicion mode.
Just a minute, Senator Onyonka. There is a point of order from Senator Mandago.
Honorable Speaker, I've heard Senator Onyonga say M23 are coming to Nairobi. I don't know whether it's confusing.
I said when they came. I said when they came. I know you don't know. When they came, M23 came to Nairobi, met our president, they launched themselves here. What did you expect President Kagame to do? What did you expect him to do? When information is coming out that all these groups are meeting around Nairobi, and we are not careful.
There is a point of order still from...
I was just wondering whether
from Senator Mandago.
The operations of Parliament have changed. Can Senator Onyonga provide evidence that M23 indeed came to Nairobi, met the president, and launched themselves here? I think it's a dangerous statement to be allowed to go on record without evidence.
Substantiate. What question are you asking
substantiate
me? That? Mr. My Chair Health, what I said was this. Anytime when you have these groups that are fighting in the East African region, and one of them appears to be Nairobi, what it happens is it creates a destabilization which sometimes is imaginary, and yet the expectation is just like South Sudan. When the earlier group, or when the first group that was against the government came to Nairobi and they met.
Nyonka, let me give you some direction.
Yes.
Since there is that point of order which you have not, we have not cleared, that it needs an evidence to show that M23 came to Kenya, met the president, and launched themselves.
What I said...
Maybe if you don't have that evidence, when are you ready to provide the evidence?
Mr. Speaker, what I said is that the M23 made contact, and indeed, the president of Kenya's responsibility was for him to start negotiating with them and the Rwandese government. What I am saying is, those discussions as they started...
Did you say that they came to Nairobi?
I said yes.
And met the president?
Yeah, no, I said they came, yes.
No. No, I don't need any direction from the members.
Say what you're saying.
That is why I'm here. I'm listening
why,
to the members.
I don't know why you don't want me to talk. Mr. Speaker, let me make it easy for you. I withdraw.
Okay, fine.
And apologize for my majority. Can I proceed? Proceed? So let me say, so that you don't waste my time, let me say what I'm saying. We, as a leadership, must understand that whatever that was happening is not removed from our reality. Just as you're planning to organize so that Prime Minister Raila can then go for his election at AU, what do? You allow individuals to pick Besigye and they abduct him and take him to Uganda. Internationally, Honorable Cherargei, you know that looks bad. Then when you are busy talking about South Africa, I know some of us may not understand that the South African government, having gone to Congo, the responsibility and the role they have played in Congo and all the issues that have been engaged must be handled so carefully. But what do? And I said it on public. We then decide we are going to support Israel, because the Israelis are our friends for years and years and years, and we make that announcement disregarding the sensitivities of what is happening in Gaza. then we take that same narrative as we are having issues.
Senator Onyonka, there's another point of order from the majority leader.
You see, Mr. Speaker, I'm really sorry to Senator Onyonka because it's not my intention to disrupt him. But he's inviting this upon himself by claiming matters that are not factual, which leaves us with no other option than to interrupt him and ask him to check his records. I know for a fact that not once, twice, or thrice, that Kenya has made its position clear on the Palestine-Gaza dispute, that they believe in the two-state solution. We have never come out clear to say that we support any of the parties. Therefore, it is not right for Senator Onyonka to mislead the House
Mr.
and
Speaker,
claim that we have identified with Israel to the exclusion of the Palestinians.
Mr.
Now, at some point, tumesikiza Senator Onyonka hadi ameendelea kwenda hapo mbele akijaribu kuzungumzia stories zingine za militias, right? Now, Zulfa, sisi tulikuwa tunazingatia story ya Raila, right? Na vile some of them could not be happy vile waliona watu wakisherehekea, sivyo? But Senator Onyonka amesema those individuals were happy to see Raila coming back, yes, and act as a refuge. Unaweza, what can you maybe comment on that?
I don't know about that. As I've said before, so everyone is celebrating on their own accord for their own reasons. So let them celebrate. Now, Peter Kimani has answered your question that you asked. He said that Felix Sifuna has just said that the truth about Raila, AU lost. He told Senate that only 4 women in a center who celebrated Sifuna has said that it's a shame for the leader to say the all Morima celebrated. Okay? And then Kimani Kanamba Zulfa, at Zulfa and Kikuyu and Mijikenda Council elders had a meeting to work together from 2027 going forward. Gachagua said it in his TV interview when they are going to look for Mijikenda to work together. And then kuna DJ Terrific anasema Omtata, so do you mean that you want to see Omtata speak? And then there's Peter Kimani anasema Felix Onyonka was right at his statement. Which statement? Because ameongea statements fulani na aka withdraw.
Yeah, sure. Kuna statement yenye alijaribu kuzungumzia kuhusiana na militias, right? Akisema like M23 and whatever vitu zenye hatukufika kuelewa vizuri, but the fact is alizizungumzia nini, but we were not interested much in that. We wanted to understand more about the Raila's laws na vile maybe those people could do some of the celebrations, right? Yes.
So what is the problem here, Felix? That people are celebrating?
Some of the senators could complain that
let them complain.
But they were trying to rectify people that you don't need to celebrate when you see someone.
Let them celebrate.
Zulfa.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying whoever wants to celebrate, let them celebrate. Who doesn't want to celebrate, let them not celebrate. It shouldn't be an issue. You know, I love the way people are focusing on the wrong things. We are focusing on issues that are sijui ni za nini. He lost. Let him come back home and look for the next thing. Sawa. But wacha kushinda tukishindia hizo vitu. We want to accuse, say ibaki for the next 1 year sasa tunashindia. Unajua Wakikuyu wali celebrate, unajua and nothing is going on hapa kwa ground. So let us stop with who is celebrating and who is not. Sawa. Nasema Felix Onyonka withdrew for the sake of peace. But nice. The thing is now we know. Sawa. Unabonga una withdraw, but we know. Now we know. So kushinda tuseme ati who celebrated. Asa tushindie from now we are in Feb. Mpaka deck. mtu wetu alienda huko akashindwa, mkacelebrate, and then there's nothing going on. Hakuna sha and shifts zinafanya kazi. Let us focus on what is important. He has lost, let us move forward. Vijana wale wawili wamlolongo wamepatikana, wale wengine wamebductiwa wapatikana. The bodies are 282 bodies, unidentified males in mortuaries, in morgues. Are they been identified? Let us go to the next thing. Tuache kushindia kitu moja. Move forward. Focus on what is important. But either way, kama umeshapata hiyo ni mtata, mweke DJ Terrific asikize, and then we wrap up the show.
Today, we don't look for real wealth on the ground. We look for it in space. We have got these screens here. Are they decorations? We have got these iPads here that every senator has. Are they decorations? When I give a URL, a universal resource locator, for a document on the internet, I expect this house to have the capacity to access the document and not be told that I should bring in paper which results in the destruction of trees. I'm bringing no paper into this house. I'm digital, I'm futuristic. My eyes are on the stars, not on the ground.
You're on the cutting edge.
Yes. And the age when the AI is coming in and we see talking of paper, brick and mortar, no way. I challenge the house to log into the URL I've given and display the information on the screens in this parliament. Now, here and now. And individual senators who cannot use their gadgets should ask for a refresher course to be taken for induction so that they can access the internet using the gadgets in this office. The taxpayers do not enable us in vain. They don't enable us in vain. So when I carry my document, my gadgets here, and I talk as a modern man in the 21st century, I am addressing modern people in the 21st century. None of the information I give is meant for Stone Age people. And if you belong to the Stone Age, you don't belong to where I belong. Are we together there? So, I want the matter to be settled there, Madam Speaker. I'm not presenting any papers here. I'm not printing any documents. I've given the URL. It's the duty of this House and individual member to access the information in the universal resource locator I've given. Madam Speaker, Senator, I sit. Thank you for the time.
Senator Okia, you still have a responsibility to indicate your source whether Jajawidi is in Kenya or not in Kenya. He has to answer that question. Senator Okia, don't avoid by the use of IT and paper and manual paper. Present that, please.
The problem of trying to fit a jet engine on a Volkswagen is what I'm dealing with. Yes, why? information from, I would like to be informed, Madam Speaker, by the
Senator, I have first directed you what to do, to give the evidence and
but
to
you have
guide
refused.
whether Jajawid is.
Can you display the document I've referred to on the screen, then I'll point to it and walk people through it? Oh, that's what I'm requesting. Yes. I've given a universal resource locator for the information I've given in this house. Can you access the document?
Clerk, are you able to display that? Just hold. Wait a bit. Wait. Are you able to display that right away? Senator Okia, I direct you to go to the technical team, table the URL you quoted, the source of that website, and then it will be dealt with. It is your responsibility once again. It is not the responsibility of the clerk to table for you. You table the evidence with the clerk. Give the information. Give the details of what you need displayed.
Ilikuwa drama.
Yeah. Senator Okia.
It was drama indeed. Right? Unajua kuna kitu yenye viongozi huwa sometimes wanafika wanasahau, my sister. They really need to remember that they are leaders. And they have got many people who follow their footsteps, right? Mm-hmm. When you see some of the leaders causing some sort of anyway, it really means that there is a disorderly moves in the country. So as I was trying to say, that was a footage which was requested by who, Zulfa? Thank you so much, bro, for that. But we were talking about Mr. Raila, whereby some of the individuals in the Senate could give comments and they could give their remarks over those people who could celebrate, right? Who could celebrate when Raila lost that seat. Truly, according to me, we really don't need to do any celebration truly when it comes to someone is lost. It is better for you to just keep quiet. Hata kama mtu alikukosea, right? Hata kama mtu alikuudhi, just give the person time. Maybe time will confirm to the person that aliwahi kukosea. Don't try to show the person how happy you are when the person is now when the person is when the person is in pain maybe or in the loss or I don't know language inapotea, but the fact is
as well Felix Igikuyu celebrated it's their right. As the women rep from Migori and Omo Bay celebrated the impeachment of Gachagua, they even had a standing ovation in house when they completed voting. So it doesn't happen right now. So if they're celebrating, let them celebrate. So
but okay, this is my point, right? We really don't need to. Unajua like bro, ukikasirika, nikikukasirisha kwa mfano, then uone there is my downfall. Just like you have seen me losing something else, you have seen me losing either my dignity somewhere, you have seen me nikiaibishwa somewhere. You don't need to do that. You don't need to show me how you are happy. Unajua ina heartbreak, my sister.
Fitting.
Ina heartbreak mbaya sana. In fact, instead, okay, kila mtu akona right, mimi sikatai. But it is my word. It is my word that it is better for you to give someone time to understand that alikumes. Right? Alikumes. But see to celebrate. When you celebrate your friend is downfall, then it means that pia wezi jua vile pia siku zako zitakwendea.
Kuna nasema comments pale. Kuna Peter anasema ya kwamba that Zulfa Omtata was right. Email internet verification is allowed in the house. And then kuna tena anasema they just were being stubborn to Omtata. I mean, that is not professional. Sindio Peter? And then kuna nitwaje tena Peter anasema Zulfa and Felix, I remember even Raila celebrated Gachagwa's impeachment at Nyanza. But the question is, did Gachagua give his support? At the last minute, Gachagua gave his support. Tulimwona Gachagua pale, akasema ya kwamba sawa, that they support Mr. Raila as he goes to the AUC. Mambo ya kusema watu celebrate, what people want. Nasema tuache kushinda kusema mambo ya kucelebrate na kukosa kucelebrate. Let us focus, please. Let us focus with the things that actually matter. He did lose. Okay, what next? We can't dwell on that. Even when someone dies in your family, you mourn, yes, but at the end of the day you move on. You don't say now, since this person has died, I'm not gonna ever eat, I'm not gonna ever bath. Yes. It's hard, it hits, but you move on. So let us move on to things. Nimeuliza wale vijana mlolongo ambao tuleta kuongelelea sababu ya hii issue ya AUC. Wamepatikana, mili zao zimepatikana, hazipatikana. Haya, mbona, why were they tortured? Do we know that? Chief and Shah, is it working? No. But we're there arguing about who celebrated, or this tribe celebrated, or this leader celebrated. Why are we even arguing about that? That is a question. So I would like for you, after you're done with that, you come, you say something, then I say something, we wrap up the show. And the thing is, hii ni kama tu ile issue ya unapata wale watu wakopele kwa government wanashindia issue moja ya who is majority, who is no majority. Oh my God, ni sisi ni nyinyi, tunaenda kukata rufaa, tunafanya na unapata vitu ambavo vimewapeleka kwenye government. You have not even dealt with it. Hamjadili with the fact that RSIF iko huku. Hamjadili, tumesikia story ya Mr. Onyonka that M23 might have been here. You see, we are not dealing with the issues that actually really matter. We are dealing with issues that zishapita. So that is me.
I agree with you, my sister. I really agree with you. I remember even Raila celebrating Gachagua impeachment at Nyanza. Then that could be wrong, right? We have got rights to vote, rights to and other freedoms to do whatever maybe people may need to do, but not celebrating the downfall of someone. So guys, let me tell you something. At some point, we really need to remember that we are Kenyans and we really need each other for the better face of our Kenya tomorrow. You know, I was very happy when I saw some of the individuals could give nice comments, nice information concerning what maybe was prevailing during that time, but it was not now necessary or essential, right? For somebody to come up with information that could bring hatred. We really need to know that we need each other for the better tomorrow. Zulfa, on the same note, I would like maybe at some point to say that nobody at all is against the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, but he should also remember that he has got many followers who could follow his footsteps. So whatever maybe he could react to anything, he should remember that he has got many people who really depends on him when it comes to even judgment making. My sister, we have got those politicians who are very sensitive when it comes to reaction. We don't want the former prime minister to take that direction. So Peter Nasema Zulfa, Raila said he was the one who put the last nail on Gachagua impeachment. He said it at Nyanza, asking yule jamaa sasa ako wapi, nilituma yeye nyumbani. So that was the some of the comment could be given by Raila, right? But the fact is, let us not now start cherishing this kind of what? Let us not start cherishing this kind of politics. Let our politics be politics that are guided by peace, love and harmony, right? So for those people who celebrated Raila's downfall, then they should also remember that this is a human life, and in human lives it is just like a journey. You might not know what maybe is waiting you ahead of you or in the future. So let love, peace and harmony, just like as I said, be part of us as we progress in our country. We really need each other to survive. Peter Kimani anasema Gachagua had no problem with Raila going to AU. He said he support they accused him, and if he did not support, they could accuse him. But as some footages could show, Gachagua wishing him all the best, right? Yeah, we could see him wishing Raila all the best. So maybe those are propagandas, Peter. And at some point, Raila sahi asharudi na mambo ya AU yameisha. Tusikue maybe tukiyazingatia sana kwa sababu hayawezi yakatujengea nchi sahi. Sahi cha muhimu ni Raila asimame ida nyuma ya Kalonzo, ama aseme chenye maybe kiko kwa akili yake kwa sahi. Tuone vile maybe tunaweza saidia siasa za Kenya. Do you have anything, my sister, maybe to make a compliment, please?
No, as long as we are repeating the same thing about who did what and who did what, you're not actually focusing on the issues that are at hand. I have nothing to say. I'm done with who lost and who is majority. I am done with that. To focus vitu vingine.
Yes.
So would we wrap up the show? You could say your name, I could say my name.
So Peter, thank you for joining us, Peter. As you can see, time has gone, and we really appreciate you guys for joining us. But this is what I ever said since then. Let us not promote tribalism, right? Let us not promote tribalism at all. Let us support each other as Kenyans for our own good. Yeah. So easy mambo ati nini ati Raila. Now if those politicians are trying to use the advantage they have maybe to bring up those differences, then we really need to take our own directions and maybe leave them to lead whoever wants to follow them. So whoever trying maybe to come up with any tribal aspect, any tribal issue, any tribal speech, please, naomba tafadhali akumbuke Kenya ni moja, na baada ya kwake kuongea bado tutabaki kuwa in the same motherland. I really appreciate you guys and may God bless you. Wacha tukutane by kesho saa 2, right? Yes.
You said your name.
Oh, you can finish. Oh, this is Plains and Felix, and I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. I love you, Kenyans, and may we have one goal and remain focused. Thank you so much. This is Plains and Felix, Kenya News Alert TV. Thank you.
Okay. So people, let us focus. Vitu tuongee kama hutu distract. Tuanze kusema Wakikuyu, Wajaka, tuanze kuingia kwenye tribalism tena, because this is them trying to do that. So let us stop and think about Kenya. Sasa tuanze kuuliza maswali ambayo yanahitaji kujibiwa, kama wale watoto ambao hawajapatikana mpaka sasa hivi wapo wapi? Kama Chief and Sha hizo ni nini? Kama mbona hamna BCG hospitali? Sasa since Trump aleti ARVs and other who said whatever huku, tutafanyaje? Let us focus on the issues that actually matter as Kenyans. Let us stop who did that and who did this. It is for them to figure out. I see. So my name is House of Zulfa. I'm sorry I get emotional about, because I see us like sasa tunaanza kufocus na vitu ambazo hazitusaidii. Focus man, focus. Aish. Tupatane kwenye show ya kesho asubuhi, inaitwa Morning Tea Show mwafaka sana, ambayo ni mimi hapa na kaka Felix. Tupatana hapa kila asubuhi, na maybe kidogo tunamleta mwanafunzi tena, tuone kama tutajaribu kuendelea na show. Sawa. So my name is Zulfa, and Ramadhan aja. Ramadan is in 8 days. I'm gonna say 7 days. Sawa. So tujiandae kwa Ramadhan, and yeah, tupatane kesho majaliwa inshallah. Bye bye.